Welcome to Plagiarist Films, my second channel, and today I would like to welcome the start of a new series. Essentially, most reviews on YouTube are about the newest AAA games, or they're about cult classic games like Super Mario 64 and such. What I want to achieve with this new series is to talk about games that either no one remembers or haven't heard of before. Basically, I come up with a random game and I play it. For the very first episode of Forgotten Games, I talk about a certain tie-in game, back when tie-in games were the norm. They've become redundant nowadays, but admit it, you bought these mediocre cash-in games back in the day. We all did. The game we'll be discussing is Bakugan Battle Brawlers, a game from 2009. But first, some context. Bakugan Battle Brawlers was a Japanese-Canadian anime produced by TMS Entertainment, Dentsu Inc., and Nelvana Animation. It's one of those kids shows designed to sell toys. The franchise is a joint venture between Sega Toys and Canadian toy manufacturer Spin Master. I remember having some of the toys back when the show was airing. Bakugan Battle Brawlers ran from April 5th, 2007 to January 26, 2012 on Cartoon Network, depending on which country you're from. The show was about a dimensional game called Bakugan that plays like a board game. The show presents a team that call themselves the Bakugan Battle Brawlers as they face the Doom Beings, a faction that wants to conquer all Bakugan. Simple, but effective. I'll link a playlist on YouTube to all the episodes if you're interested in watching it yourself. The show has 6 main characters. The first is Dan Kuso, our main character. He's what you expect from a show like this, and he uses the Pirates attribute in the Bakugan game. The second is Runo Misaki, who is basically a tomboy. That's her key character trait. There's Marucha Makura, the short brainiac of the team. There's Julie, my least favorite of the Battle Brawlers. Her only character trait is that she has an obnoxious crush on Dan, and it's not subtle in any shape or form. There's Shun Kazami, the stereotypical hotshot of the group who has ninja skills. Then there's Alice Gay-Habaj, who's basically the pretty girl character trope, who is from Moscow apparently, but speaks English without any kind of accent. The antagonists include Naga, a rogue Bakugan, Hal-G, a possessed version of Alice's grandpa, and Masquerade, a guy who holds the top Bakugan rank. These aren't all the characters, and I'll get to them when we meet them in the game, but you get the idea. The video game, released in 2009, at least for newer systems, was meant to tie in with the first season of the show. And an interesting about it, despite the show being a Japanese-Canadian production, the game was never released in Japan. This is pretty much the opposite of what you would expect. A game never released in Japan, instead of a game released only in Japan. The cover is pretty generic, just characters with a fiery background. Doesn't give a very bright first impression. When you look at the back, you see this. This is Bakugan like never before. Start your journey today and watch a whole new world open before your eyes. Wow, now I'm intrigued. Go on. Join Dan in battle to save Vestroya and Earth from the ultimate evil. Okay, 8 all new worlds with over 20 levels. Good. Go on. 17 brawlers to choose from. Okay, that's a sizable selection. Collect over 35 Bakugan. Seems like we'll have a lot to choose from. Alright, let's start the game. So like any game, we see the masterminds behind this game and, you son of a bitch, my mortal enemy Activision. To be fair, you wouldn't dread the name of this publisher back then as you would today, but just seeing it puts a bad taste in your mouth. It seems like these type of games would either be published by Activision, EA, or Ubisoft. Activision also had the license to Transformers for a long time too, and they were insanely greedy there, and with the exception of like 3 of the console games, they totally butchered everything else. Thank God this game didn't have DLC or anything like that. It was just you and the game. You really take this stuff for granted. How much the video game industry was changed. And this was back when the Call of Duty franchise actually had a soul. But seriously, seeing how greedy Activision is now, even if this game was published in a simpler time, it still makes me pessimistic. Because any publisher was capable of releasing unpolished, unfinished, rushed games. Will the same fate befall Bakugan? Let's find out. The game was developed by Now Production Co., a Japanese game developer. Why was a Japanese developed game never released in Japan? This doesn't make any sense. Then after some more assisting developers pop up on screen, we get a 3D anime opening sequence with generic loud music, and then we get to the main menu. The user interface isn't anything special. It's what a lot of user interfaces look like. So let me start a new game. Keep in mind, the footage you'll see will be my second playthrough in preparation for this video. I played it the first time to get used to the controls, and played it a second time to see if it had any replayability, or if it was fun the second time. So we start a new game and we are presented with the show's intro. Like this is the start of a new episode. Cool. We go to the second main menu. For the majority of this review, we'll be focusing on the story mode. Since that's where you're introduced to the game, the battle arena is just a case of custom matches, so forgive me if I don't tackle it. The true experience is the story mode. Alright, it asks us to put in a name. How about Chuck? Why am I calling him Chuck? I don't know, maybe because he chucks Bakugan into battle. Alright, now you have to select your key attribute. There's 6 in the show. Pyrus, Subterra, Chaos, Ventus, Aquos, and Darkus. The most beneficial one to choose is Darkus, but it doesn't really matter for most of the other ones. But do not, for the sake of your own life, choose Chaos, and I'll get to why very later in the video. For my playthrough, I'm choosing Darkus, the attribute of darkness. After that, we have to customize Chuck. That includes skin color, eyes, mouth, nose, and basic attire. For some reason, you can't choose a hat, glasses, or gloves. You have to wait until you can enter your room to do that, and customization isn't anything like Halo Reach. You get a select number of colors to choose from. So if you like orange, for example, the game says F you. So anyways, we start up the actual game after choosing how our guy looks. And to be honest, the game starts out pretty strong. It's quite tense. Something mysterious happens in unknown hyperspace. It's basically how Gianagi creating a power orb. The sound is actually quite tense. Then we cut to the Doom Dimension, the death place of all Bakugan, where something arises from the Doom Dimension. It's actually a great start. Start off the game with something mysterious and cold to get our blood pumping. Then the game goes on with something simple. We cut to Dan's hometown, Wardington on Earth. Keep in mind, from this moment onwards, expect cringy dialogue often. So Shuji and Akira, 2 minor antagonists from the show, are giving our boy Chuck some shit, accusing him of mocking them. This is where we get a taste of Chuck's personality. He's often a wimp, and it makes me wish this game had dialogue options. This isn't a valid criticism, it's just something I would have preferred. This is a game where you build yourself from the ground up, so it would have been nice to have the story make this like a sports game career mode, but that's just me. Something that's great about this game is that they got all the voice actors to play the characters. Well, I guess this is more affordable for a game about a TV show, more so than a movie. I applaud them for authenticity. Although along with the occasional cringy dialogue, some of the voice actors, while being suitable for anime, sound exaggerated, like Shuji. Just listen to him.
Admit it, punk. You were making fun of the way I battle. Right, Akira?
That's what I heard!
But that's just nitpicking. The voice actor certainly assists the story. I also made jokes back in the day about how his name sounded similar to Sushi. I guess it was the Japanese writers who gave him that name. But again, just another nitpick. So Shuji is about to beat us up when Dan, the protagonist from the anime, shows up to help us. And immediately Chuck fanboys over Dan, being like, "Wow, cool, you're Dan from the Bakugan Brawlers. You're all over the net." This game makes us like Dan as he's very encouraging to us throughout the whole game. But everyone else in this game is a prick when the player meets them. I don't know why. So anyways, onto the tutorial. The game always gives us the first turn, which is just dumb luck, I guess. So basically how the game works in this game is a more fleshed out version of the game in the TV show. We both choose a gate card to throw at the start, and on each player's turn, we throw a Bakugan and try to make them land on a gate card. We can also steer our Bakugan with a limited fuel bar to land on the gate card we want. When it's the enemy player's turn, you can shoot their Bakugan to hinder them. I use this all the time because you never want the enemy to have a foothold on a gate card, especially if they use their main Bakugan. Shuji didn't have much ground to cover, so of course he lands on the gate card where I landed. This starts a battle. How battles work is that the gate card is opened, assigning each player a certain amount of G power to each Bakugan. Trust me, you want your G power to be much higher than your opponent. You can use ability cards to boost your G power or give you some other advantage. It depends on what it is. There are 3 types of battles that can occur. There's shaking battles, timing battles, and shooting battles. Shaking battles basically has you shake your controller to get more G power than your opponent. Timing battles have you tap the right button when the attribute on screen is on the button on screen visually. It's kinda hard to describe, so here, have a look. There's shooting battles, and I suck at these types of battles, and I have to try my best to win them. Basically, you have to aim at your Bakugan's attribute symbol to increase your G power. Early on, this isn't as big of a deal, but like 20% through the game, it's a real bitch. I try my best to either get a ridiculous amount of G power more than the opponent before the match starts, or I try to avoid battles with gate cards that choose said battle. Another way you can get a gate card is landing 2 of your Bakugan on the same card. This is what is called a double stand, and I actually do this quite often to win a gate card, because sometimes I don't feel like battling other Bakugan. So after I beat Shuji is a sore loser and threatens he'll beat us at the tournament. Dan, once again, compliments us, and says that Chuck and him could be partners at the tag team tournament. Chuck says that he's just a beginner, and to win, he'd need a Bakugan like Drago. You know, one of those special Bakugan that can talk. So basically, we go to the Bakugan store, which exists, don't question it. And guess who's there? Motherfucking Alice is there. Jesus, we've met 2 battle brawlers in the same day. Chuck, you lucky bastard. Alice explains that you need Bakugan points to buy shit at the store. Wait, so we need Bakugan points? Which the game doesn't even give us a visual to what they even look like, and not Canadian dollars? God damn it. So anyways, Chuck tells Alice that they'll be going to the park to find an opponent, and that's her only purpose in the main story. She does all in this game. That's when the unthinkable happens. A bright light emits out of nowhere, and a Bakugan pops out of the light. Chuck picks the Bakugan up, and holy shit, it talks. The Bakugan introduces itself as Leonidas, and Chuck proposes that they should team up and beat everyone. Leonidas accepts, and now we have a Guardian Bakugan. So wait, you won your first match of Bakugan, met 2 battle brawlers, the group you idolize, and you found a partner Bakugan at the park that can assist you in the tournament, all in the same day. Oh, you lucky bastard. I wish I had the same luck like Chuck. Bloody hell. So anyways, I changed my attire, grind a while to get Bakugan points so I can upgrade Leonidas' G power, and then we get to the tournament. Chuck expresses concern because Marucho and Runo are entering the tournament as well. Leonidas is one arrogant Bakugan. He's basically got an urge to beat other Bakugan. So we enter the tournament's first round. Our opponent? Shuji. Again, he's real easy. Next opponent? Runo. I would also like to point out that each player has an obnoxious entrance when the match starts. Here, have a look.
We got this!
I'll show you what I can do.
I would have liked each character to have a kick-ass entrance, but of course not, this is a kid's game. So anyways, a trick that I like using is power throwing a Bakugan into an enemy Bakugan to drain their G power. It's a surprisingly effective strategy that makes everything easier. And for a high-ranked Bakugan player, Runo goes down like a bitch. She didn't win 1 gate card, and I got all my 3 with ease. I understand that they have to gradually increase the difficulty, but they couldn't give us a lesser Bakugan player. Anyways, on to the final Marucho, the wise kid of the Bakugan Brawlers. Like Runo, he's too easy. Okay, so either Chuck is one lucky bastard, or he's got triple the Metachlorians Ray has. I'd call him a Larry Stu, but the player reflects Chuck's skill, so really I'm the Larry Stu. So we win the tournament and win our first medal. Dan once again compliments us for winning the tournament, amazed at our natural skill. Then Chuck and Dan bump into Marucho, who essentially concludes that due to Leonidas' battle abilities and personality, he arrived at a different time than the other Bakugan. How the f*** would you know something like that? That doesn't make any sense. And later, Marucho turns out to be right. But seriously, how the hell did he know? Marucho also makes the bold prediction that Leonidas is planning something beyond Bakugan battles. And to that, I say,
Fucking ass.
Then Runo shows up, and she says,
Tigrera said there's something weird about how aggressive he is. Maybe you should find a different partner.
Fucking ass.
if you like these characters in the show, you will not like them here. They treat us and Leonidas with pessimism. So anyways, after they both leave, Dan encourages us by being like, don't let them get to you. Let's team up in the tag team tournament. And basically we meet them at the park for practice. So of course Dan and Chuck meet up at the park and are confronted by Shuji and Akira, who challenge them. Dan says that we'll use them for practice. Then we are introduced to a new game mode, Tag Team Battle. It's a basically 2 versus 2. Your team has to win 3 gate cards to win the match. The rules vary, as in you can't get a double stand for landing on a gate card with your teammate's Bakugan. You have to do it with your own Bakugan. So we beat Shuji and Akira with ease, and so onto the tournament. For some reason there's no time skip. The tournaments occur back to back. After a talk with Dan, we get to the first match. Now I really wish Dan wasn't my tag team partner. Why? His AI is f***ing retarded. He misses his shots often. This AI really needed some polish, because I refuse to believe a high-ranking player is so bad at this game. So the first opponents, Jenny and Jules, are real easy. They don't have partner Bakugan, so that's an advantage Chuck and Dan have. Another thing I want to point out is that the map changes every tournament. It's good for giving the tournaments their own identities, and better than the first map, you can collect the G-Power and external ability cards on the map before you actually land on a gate card. So essentially we beat these two with ease, but the next round caused some issues. My only loss in the entire playthrough was because of Dan's AI incompetence. He kept on missing, and since I relied on him, I ended up losing. This problem with Dan doesn't just apply to the tag team tournament. It shows up later in the game. So basically we're up against Billy and Kumba, and aside from that one loss, they aren't too hard. I do think that this game was a lot more challenging on the first playthrough, because I only lost like once, and that was the fault of Dan, not me. Next opponent, Julio and Chan Lee. The second one's name is obviously derived from both Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee's surnames. Does Chan Lee happen to be as skilled as Bruce Lee? No. Chan Lee is somehow worse than a noob that started a few days ago. Julio also looks like a man in his 40s, but no, he's 18. What the hell? You know, it wouldn't hurt to have some randomized NPC opponents in the earlier stages of the game, because facing these top players and winning just seems to be out of place. And like most opponents, the enemy team doesn't get a single card. At this point, I've semi-mastered the game. I know most of the strategies. So next up, Runo and Marucho. And if you think they were a challenge for me, you should know better by now. And luckily, Dan actually did something. He won 2 gate cards in a battle, and I got a double stand. Dan proves to be the most likable character in this game, and says that we'll practice for the next tournament, where we are doing yet another game mode, a match called Battle Royale. But let me tell you, it plays nothing like Minecraft, Hunger Games, PUBG, or Fortnite. It's a whole different type of match. Basically, it's a player against 3 other players. Everyone is trying to win for themselves. Shuji opts to battle us again along with Jenny and Jules, who also want to compete. We play, and to be fair, Battle Royales are fairly challenging, because instead of 1 focused threat, you have 3. But for the practice round, of course I won. But before we even leave the park, Chuck gets a message on his watch, revealing something strange. Chuck tells Leonidas that Drago was defeated by an unspecified Bakugan, and that Dan is upset. Of course, Dan himself never shows up for the tournament until it's over. Dan just disappears for the time being. So of course, this is when the game decides to introduce us to Julie. She accuses Chuck and Leonidas of being the one who defeated Dan. Bitch, he was our tag team partner yesterday. Where the hell did you get that idea? And it doesn't help that Runo and Marucho show up to back up Julie with suspicion on Leonidas. Chuck tells everyone that he trusts Leonidas. Julie then says,
We'll see about that. Your name is Mud in the next tournament, kid.
F***ing ass.
So now the tournament begins. Despite being the second most difficult segment of the game, I was able to get past it. Although, I do admit, in the second round, I was that close to losing, and I only barely won. Thank God. The brawls themselves aren't too long, but trust me, you don't want to lose, especially in a battle royale. So anyways, I get to the final, where Runo, Julie, and Marucho are my opponents. I managed to beat them, and then we are confronted by a brand new character that never appeared in the show. Say hello to Marduk. The game proclaims himself as the greatest Bakugan player in the world, along with his partner Vladitor. Dan shows up to reveal that it was those two who harmed Drago. Oh great, Dan, you know, it would have been nice for you to clarify who beat you. Julie would have never made the baseless assumption that Leonidas was responsible. And get ready for some kindergarten dialogue from Runo.
What? What's with him? He seems like a big meanie.
Cringe! So anyways, we face Marduk, and for a character that the leaderboard has as the best Bakugan player, Marduk goes down like a bitch. And it's fucking stupid that we aren't at the #1 spot yet. After we beat him, Vladitor says that he wants to recruit Leonidas for a Doom Being army. Leonidas, of course, refuses, but the game also reveals that Leonidas was born in the Doom dimension. Oh, so that's what the being at the start of the game was. It was Leonidas this whole time! Marduk and Vladitor whiz away, and we have the Disney trademark sad scene.
Leonidas, he's lying, right?
It's true. I was born from the hate and despair of the Bakugan locked deep in the Doom dimension. All I wanted was to take my anger out on other Bakugan. But I've changed since I've met you.
Me?
Yes. Thanks to you, I've learned the importance of friendship and trust.
We've learned from each other. Friends always do. Whatever happens, you'll always be my partner.
Touching. You really pulled my heartstrings the first time. Good job whoever wrote this game. Then it's time for the next tournament. All tournaments from now on will be one-on-one, to be clear. This is where we meet Shun, who once again is the biggest
So, you're Leonidas' partner, huh? I'm Shun.
I know! Wow! Great to meet you.
Leonidas is a dangerous Bakugan. I'm in this tournament to
F***ing ass.
Seriously, why does Chuck want to join the Battle Brawlers exactly? Only 2 out of 6 have been nice to him. The other 4 have been big ass. The story itself could have been about never meeting your heroes, given how they treat Chuck and Leonidas. As for the tournament itself, they once again recycle old opponents for the new tournaments. It's quite repetitive. Once again, the randomized NPCs idea would have worked wonders here, because I really don't want to face the same opponent again and again. It makes the game a bit repetitive. It's tiresome. When we get to Shun, I say he's a decent challenge, and you really want to avoid getting into a direct battle with him. Just go for double stands, like I do. And after we beat him, guess who shows up? Marduk? No. Dan? No. John Cena? Nope. It's Masquerade, the major antagonist from the show. You know this is going to be a boss battle, but despite that, Masquerade goes down like a bitch. My tactic of double stands worked, and I won the battle without Masquerade getting a single gate card. What a wuss. And to add to the embarrassment, look at how Masquerade blew his special shot.
It's time to battle!
This is something I actually recorded, and I do find it a little odd that Masquerade was presented as a boss after Marduk. Marduk took Masquerade's place on the leaderboard as the greatest Bakugan player, so why didn't we get Masquerade first? Traditional games always put the strongest last, so after our little battle, Masquerade tries to convince Leonidas to join them, but he again refuses. Masquerade leaves. After that, we watch the bad guys meet up. Hal G offers Silent Core energy to Vladitor, if he can beat the Battle Brawlers. Vladitor accepts, and then the next tournament starts. Dan says that if he can beat him in the next tournament, we'll be an official Battle Brawler. Chuck accepts, and the next tournament goes on like normal. We get recycled opponents like Chan Lee and Julio. I kinda wish that we get new opponents, you know? Dan, once again, misses his shots, so he's not too hard to beat. A thing about this game, it feels more like the opponents from the show have stepped down rather than Chuck winning from skill. So of course, Dan lets us join the Battle Brawlers. Now that I think about it, are the Bakugan Battle Brawlers really that talented? Because they always lost to a rookie like Chuck. So after a confrontation with Marduk and Masquerade, it's time for the final tournament. Basically, this is a tournament to end all tournaments. The cutscene for the tournament has Marucho explain Marduk's backstory. He was a decent Bakugan player until his unspecified friend and tag team partner betrayed him and sent his Bakugan to the Doom Dimension. After this bit of backstory to this mysterious new character, we play the tournament. This tournament consists of beating all the Battle Brawlers, plus Masquerade and Marduk. The hardest one in the tournament is definitely Shun. He actually had a chance against me, but since I kept using double stands like a cheapskate, I won. Another thing to point out is that every Guardian Bakugan except Vladitor and Leonidas have been upgraded. This was the game's attempt to increase the challenge, but double stands proved this attempt ineffective. Masquerade 2 has an evolved Bakugan in the form of a dual Hydronoid, but again, using the double stands tactic made him no match for me. When we defeat Marduk, Hal G scolds Vladitor for losing, but Vladitor takes the Silent Core, evolving him into Battle Axe Vladitor, the most powerful Bakugan ever. He transforms the arena from chaos to darkness, the Doom Dimension to be exact. All the Battle Brawlers Guardian Bakugan begin to weaken, as the Doom Dimension has hindered their abilities. The only two unaffected are Vladitor and Leonidas, as they both came from the Doom Dimension. Chuck suggests that all Bakugan pour their power into Leonidas, to give him a boost so they can defeat this son of a bitch. With this, Leonidas turns into Omega Leonidas, and essentially has a greater chance of defeating him. Now the final battle has special rules. Only one Bakugan is allowed on the deck, double stands cannot be performed, damn it, and whatnot. Since I can't do double stands, I have to beat Marduk and Vladitor conventionally, by doing a battle with them. I used to find this part impossible to beat when I was younger, but now, it's far easier. Basically, I have to get off my lazy ass and collect G-Power across the map to get an edge over Vladitor. I also choose my deck carefully, and with this, I was able to win the match without Marduk getting a single gate card. Beat that b*****. So when we defeat Vladitor, he says a final goodbye to Marduk before he vanishes. But unfortunately, the same thing happens to Leonidas. So Chuck gives a final goodbye to Leonidas as well. To where after which, he talks to Marduk, telling him to stop being a crybaby and get up. We get a sense of triumph that we all get to go home now, along with Marduk. The epilogue? Well, see for yourself.
This is where I met Leonidas. What? It can't be!
How have you been, partner?
I can't believe it! Leonidas! I'm not dreaming, am I? What happened to you?
I don't really know what happened either, but just as he was about to vanish, Vladitor reached out and helped me.
Vladitor helped you?
He gave me his remaining powers, said I deserved them. Maybe he wasn't all bad.
I don't know what to say, Leonidas. I'm so happy to see you. We'll never be apart again from now on.
Of course not. We're partners. I promise.
Bakugan Brawl!
So that was Bakugan Battle Brawlers. This game was kind of repetitive, they recycled the same opponents way too much, and the game was too easy for older players. And this game was awesome! Despite my complaints, I had a swell time trying this game out again for the first time in years. It's far from perfect, but considering this was most likely a rushed licensed game made to cash in on the show, they really did a good job refining this game. I hardly encountered any glitches that I can think of, aside from maybe the at times bad AI. The game actually gave a damn about its story, which despite my complaints was actually pretty decent. The sad moments didn't make me cry, but they definitely got an emotion out of me. It's a well-made game. It's far better than what you probably expect. I may be biased by nostalgia, but I really enjoyed playing this game back in the day. It's a good game for the library, although I do have a gripe with it is that it ties in with the show poorly. This game is essentially a non-canon episode of the show, as Chuck, Marduk, Vladitor and Leonidas are never mentioned in the show afterwards. They couldn't give a player a canon name or something. If you're going to tie in with a show or movie, then tie in with the show or movie. Don't just be a self-contained non-canon story, because this is what Bakugan Battle Brawlers is, despite its good quality. It does nothing for the franchise. They never sold Leonidas or Vladitor as a toy as far as I'm aware, and this game was pointless despite its quality, especially since the next game, Defenders of the Core, hardly counts as a sequel to this game, as once again, it's its own thing which is also not canon, but that might be a story for later. I'm Plagiarist Films, and I give this game an 8.5 out of 10. If I was reviewing it back when it came out, then I would recommend it. However, since I can pretty much guarantee that Activision's license ran out, the only way to play this game now is to buy a physical copy, and there are better, newer games you could be playing. Thanks for watching, and until next time, what are stories from mystery boxes?